Okay, welcome to session 13. This is our second to last one according to the program. So by around about this time next week, we should be all finished and ready to submit after that. Just looking at the program here, or the learning schedule. If we go down here, we have we have fifth is today. So we're going to continue with the site plan and the eaves detail. We might not get to the eaves detail, but hopefully we will. We still have a bit of time next week to finish it. And also we got to, although I can't see it here right now, I think some of these things are moved around. There's a bit more down here, which shouldn't be. This bit here actually belongs to the one above. Actually, no, yeah, fifth. Yeah, that should be on the. That should be belonging to the 12th and hasn't been written in there. It's just been botched up a bit. But next week we'll need to then purge and e-transmit and finish off the detail, whatever it is. Yeah, the detail 1:10. And then it's basically the due date is on the 19th of the 11th, which is a week after next week's session. But of course, if you finished, stick them up there because I'll hopefully start looking at them ASAP. All right, after that. All right, so that's that. I'll just go on and show you here. So this is what we are aiming to finish up with by maybe the end of the day. If not, maybe this one will be missing the detail, but we should have the site plan done. So that's it. All right, so let's head down to over here to the practice note assessment, and I will grab the student portfolio and fast forward to, where is it gone? I just downloaded it. Here it is. Yes, it's coming up. All right, so we're just going to go down to around about after this site plan and detail. Okay, so I'll just change this a bit. Auto hide ribbon. All right. So what have we got here? We've got the idea of this plan is that you have engaged an external consultant, surveyor in this case, to survey and identify your site boundaries and provide a CAD plan. You can then use in your own CAD drawing, which is what we're going to do. This plan has now been provided to you on Learn, and it can either be inserted directly into your drawing or as an external reference. We would choose external reference in this instance so that we can expose you to another method of importing CAD files. Yeah, so basically there is an example following page extracted out of the AS 1100 of what a typical site plan should look like, just as a reference, and hopefully ours is a little bit close to that. So that's what a typical one from the standards looks like. Yeah, we hopefully be pretty close to that. There are services that are shown on here. Our services will be at the back. We have an easement. It must be the way the site is falling. So all the stormwater and sewer or whatever will be going into an easement at the back of the site instead of the front. So that's fine. All right, so additional knowledge, it says here. How to create additional scales in AutoCAD. Well, we always can do with extra knowledge. Yeah, and this one here we've been doing all along anyway, create the following layers. Make sure you use the VP frozen button, which you've been using anyway, so that don't show up in any previous viewports. So we're going to create some layers. The names of the layers to be shown to you in a minute. In layer site-house, trace the outline of the house, including the verandas. That's what we're going to do after. This is a little bit back to front. These notes sort of thing, because we haven't actually brought it in. But when we do bring it in, we'll go back to number 5 and trace around the house. And yeah, these are the layers we're going to create, and that's what we're going to trace around the house. And then after that, we're going to download that and then put it in. So it gave you a bit of an overview of what we're going to do, and now it's telling you sort of in reasonable sort of order how we're going to do it. All right, so let's first up create these layers: site boundary, site house. Look, I had trouble when creating these layers. In other words, well, I didn't have trouble creating them, but when I went to set the color for each one of them, it kept jumping onto a wrong layer, and I ended up setting the color onto a different layer because it just reordered it in alphabetical order, and and just caused me a lot of trouble. So I think what we might do is just create them all first, then go and change their color and line type. I think that's might be quicker for us. All right, so going down a bit here, I just bring it down to level here, site plan, so we can later on download this. A3. That's what it's sort of meant to look like. We've got to download the surveyor's plan and the eaves detail for use as well. You might want to do that now while you're in here. So just click on the site plan from surveyor. Now, I'm giving you this site plan because of the fact that it is a normal workflow, for one. But two, it will come in normally. It will come in meters, which is fine. When you insert it in, it may or may not recognize that and convert it to millimeters for you. I know for a fact this one won't recognize it because it has come from a template that this company is using that it hasn't got the units defined in it. It doesn't actually know whether it's millimeters, meters, feet, inches. It's actually in a situation where it's unitless. So the AutoCAD won't actually convert it for us. So we'll have to do the conversion ourselves by scaling it up. So download that plan and put it in, and it tells you a bit later on, put it in your 1-drawing folder because it is much simpler situation and easier situation to have it in the same folder as your drawing file is. If like AutoCAD finds things easier if they're all in the same folder, and that goes for this eaves detail as well. Download that. It's a PNG file. It's not a JPEG. It's a PNG, and it doesn't really matter. And we'll bring that into AutoCAD as well. All right, so then it's printing. Yeah, so submit there. Okay, so that's it for the portal for the Learn site. So now we can go back into here, start creating these layers. So site boundary. Now let me just open up the one that's not finished. That's the one that's finished. Open up the one we left off from last week. Which is, it was the 29th last week, this one here. Open that up, and I'll just save it as today, file save as, which is the 5th of the 11th. Okay, save that. All right, now, although this is not spelled out, we should know by now how to create another layout down here. We should also know how to rename the layouts down the bottom, the tabs, so it reflects the sheet number perhaps. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to move a copy and I'm going to move to the end. So I highlight that and then I tick create a copy, and it will copy sheet A02 because it's the one that I'm currently displaying. So that's the one that's going to copy and move to the end. And I'm going to go OK. And I'm going to double click on this one here that's just been created and just rename it to, space that, 3. And immediately you might want to make some changes, which are basically what this is going to be if you want, and it's going to be this is what it's going to be. It's going to be a site plan and detail. And the only other thing I want to make a change, perhaps it's done in November 2019 now. Oh, and that should be A03. I missed that one. That should be A03 on the other one. Okay, so this is the one that's finished, but it wasn't obviously quite finished. I was missing one thing. All right, so yeah, back here we'll make those 3 changes perhaps, and we get rid of that. All right, so it's going to be, what do we say, site plan and detail. And detail, and okay, and then the other thing we're going to change to just go, if you look in here, you'll find the information you want one day. It's somewhere in here. The scale also needs to be changed. The scale is not 1:100. That would be as shown, because we're going to have mixed scales here. We're going to have the detail is going to be 1:10, and the site plan is going to be 1:200. Yeah. As shown or indicated, but probably won't fit that. I'll just, okay, and I think the other thing I've got to do is change this to A03. A03. Is that what I had to do? That one. Oh, and this one here from October to November. So no, because this sheet was actually done this month, not last month. Notice it says here the scale add A3. I think that's a great idea to say what the original sheet size was, because nowadays with electronic PDFs and all that, people might print them off and they might print on A4, but it's originally an A3. So you know not to start measuring. Not that you should be measuring, because sometimes they might not print them out properly either. Even if it is an A3, it may be that. And be careful when printing. I don't know if you know this, but if someone's giving you an A3 and you want to print it, and I've got to find one. Just a minute, I'll find one. So you've got an A3 sitting here, and you want to print this off. Just make sure if you're ever printing them off, that in here you have it. We have the option of actual size. All right. Now I can see if I did fit, it will just print the A3 on an A4, because that's what I'm set up by the look of it. But having an actual size immediately tells me there's an issue. But then if I then go and change the properties here, the sheet to an A3, it will fit better. So that will fit better. But if I had it on fit, it may be just a little bit out. You got to make it so it's actual size. Even if you're missing maybe one little part of your title block border, it's better to have it on actual size, so then you can measure off if you have to. Okay. All right. So that's just a little tip. Couple of more tips of the day. All right. Let's close that. I'm just going to pause here for a tick. Make sure everyone's okay before we move on. All right, let's keep going. So we've got our sheet A03 ready. I think what it says next is delete the one of the viewports. But now let's create the layers first. Site boundary. We're getting sidetracked. So click on here and click this second button. Very important that you use the second button, not the first button. Actually, yeah, that's a good question. Are we going to do it inside the viewport or outside the viewport? That's actually, it's very confusing, because if you're on the sheet, in fact, or through the viewport even, it gives you this double column of everything. And I would actually, and it's a very good question, I will make a point of actually going to model space to do this, and it simplifies this dialog box better. So I will actually create the layers in model space, even though it's messy in here. Let's just create the layers in here, because it just simplifies where you're clicking for the colors and all that. There's only one column for each. So let's do that. So yeah, second button is very important, absolutely critical. Otherwise, you're going to be going back to another 4 viewports and turning off 5 layers in it, 5 layers in each one. So let's do that. All right, so we're going site, site. What's it? Boundary. All right. What else is there in site? Can someone else help me with another one? What's the first one? Site boundary.
Site boundaries. You haven't given them any.
No, I'm not going to give them any color yet. I'm going to create them.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Site boundaries is the first one. Site hatch, another one.
Hatch. Yeah.
Site house.
Site house. Okay. Stormwater. Yeah, I'm making them. I'm creating them all first, because then he just puts them all down here for me. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3. I've done 3. Is that all I've done? Where's the other? Because they disappear.
Site boundaries, site house.
Site boundaries, site house. Yep.
Site hatch.
Yes.
Site path.
Site path. Yes. That's the other one. I think this must be the layer for it. I'll just delete that for a minute. Yeah. Site path is what I didn't rename. Site path. That's it, is it?
Path and site stormwater.
I've got the stormwater, I think. Paths. Okay. Easy. Thank you for your help. Now it's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, eh? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm missing one. Boundary, house, hatch, path. What? Didn't I? Site boundary, hatch, house, stormwater. What am I missing? House, hatch, boundary.
House, hatch, boundary, paths, and stormwater.
Yeah, path is missing, although I typed it up just a minute ago. See what happens? They disappear. Let me just close this window and come back in. It doesn't seem to refresh. This is where I've had the problem. So if I come back, yeah, I come back and it's there, right? So this is the problem I had with actually creating the colors at the same time, because I ended up clicking on the one I thought it was the one, and then it wasn't regenerating. I was changing an existing one. So now that I've got them all there in order, I should be able to go through and do that. So, all right. So the side boundary is green. Now, this is where we're going to do a little bit of thinking what green is supposed to be, but yeah, green is supposed to be 0.5. It doesn't give us the line weight. This is the thing we've got to correct for next time around, but it doesn't give us a line weight. So the line weight, we've got to add another column here. The line weight shall be 0.5 because of our little, this is based on the ABS CTB. So if we look back on early pages, page 9 or something like that, it tells us what it should be. So the green, so the site boundary should be 0.5. 0.5, so, but I'll make it green anyway. Green, and okay that. And I'll make it 0.5. 0.5, and go okay. Sorry?
Yeah, mine might create them, mine might save them.
Sorry?
Mine might save them. Oh, it's come up now. It's actually come up the second time around.
What's that in creating it?
I created all of the things, but they're not actually showing this.
No, well, this is what the problem I had. So close the layer dialog box and open it again, and it orders it in alphabetical order.
Yeah. So that's 25.
Yeah. So the house is yellow, but I'm gonna steer away from yellow. I'll make it like an orangey color. So I'll pick one in a minute. But the fact is, it's got to be 0.35 for the house. I'm going to pick up maybe this color 30 or something like that, and make it 0.35. Hatch will be, it's 7. Now 7 is 0.25. 7 is 0.25. It's already a white color hatch. 0.25 is already, so I don't have to change that one. It's good. Site path is also 7. Okay. Site path is also 7, so we'll change that one. Well, you can have it any color, but let's make it 7. And now 7 is, that's interesting. What's 7 meant to be? Actually, I better double check because I think it's 0.25. Yeah. If we go up here, there is a little. Oh, up here there is a little something or other. Here, intended 7.25, and the red is supposed to be, if you have a red, 0.18. So 7. So yeah. Maybe I lost that. No, we don't have red. Don't think we have. There we go. We don't have red. You're right. So it's 0.25. But my site paths came out 0.18 for some reason, so I've got to just change that. I'm not sure why. All right. So stormwater. Now the stormwater, I'm going to actually change it. It's 0.25, but I'm going to change it. I'm going to give it a watery color. Rather than everything, there's a danger in having everything white because you might forget change the layer and then it goes in the wrong layer. So that's why we're having colors. We're going to differentiate colors. Make it 160, which is a blue color, and that's it there. All right, so heaps of trouble creating layers, but if I go back here, actually, here, it says that the stormwater shall be also dash dot. Load it, and then select it to apply to the layer. So you have to select it. Back here, we go to stormwater, and we change the line type to dash dot, which you probably find out is not in there. So we'll click load. Right, this is a missing step. We'll click load, and then it gives you this list here. And you go down here and find dash dot. Be careful because there's a few dash dots. There's 3 dash dots. The one you want is dash dot 2, which I keep missing. Dash dot 2, not x2. Dash dot 2, not that one. Right? Okay. Then you have to click on it to actually set it. Then go OK, and only then it puts a name there in the dollar box. Okay. That no, just say a word. So, all right. So in theory, what have I done? Where's my layers? It should be all frozen. All the ones I created, all of these, they're all frozen in the current viewport here. So it means I've created them using the second button, which is what I wanted to do. All right. So that's great. So now we can. I'm going to move over to my sheet A3. And I'm going to follow the instructions from here. We've done that. It says download the site plan. First of all, we need to, what does it say here? In layer site house, trace the outline of the house, including the veranda. Okay, so now that, did it say to delete anything? Create layers with that. We also got to create some, yeah, just here, you haven't done all that yet. So creating new layout tab, we've done that. Copy your electrical footing plan layout and call that. Delete the electrical plan viewport, it says. And move the footing one over. Yes, all right. Okay, yes. So basically, this one's a little more complicated. There's a lot more layers to deal with. And therefore, we're going to get rid of this one. And all this, and of course there's some other stuff left over, so we'll just delete that. I don't know what that was there. So that, and we don't want any of these dimensions of text on here either. But first of all, I'm going to move this over. I'm just going to click and drag on it like that, put it there, and I'll delete all this other stuff here. Just leaving the two titles there. And we also got to go in here and change the, well, yeah, we've got to turn off some layers, but we've got to actually trace around this. Now, let me just go in here into this, double click on the viewport, and turn off the footing. So a quick way of doing it, if you're not sure what it's called, is to click on the line, and it tells you that it's called footings there, and you can just go straight to it like that. And the other one will be walls, so it'll be wall shade, I think. That's gone. And would you look at that? We're basically left with the outline anyway. So why bother tracing it, eh? You say? Yeah, why trace it if it's already there? All right. So the other thing we'll get rid of is these posts. And my posts are on layer floor posts. So I'm going to turn that off. Freeze it in the current viewport. That's gone. So we're just left with the veranda outline. All right. So what we need to do, basically, is copy, instead of tracing it, we might as well use this because we did this once before. So we might as well use this outline. Have you got this outline, everyone? So I have. You traced it, yeah. But I'm going to copy it because you follow my instructions too literally. One thing you got to learn is not to follow my instructions. Yeah. So basically, we need to turn that off as well. But you know, like it's on a layer veranda. We need to turn it off anyway, but we can turn it off now, but we're just going to remember to trace around where that would have been afterwards. So you either turn it off now or copy it and change it. Maybe we should just turn off the veranda as well and just remember to trace it after, might be easier. All right, so just turn off the veranda. It's easy to put another line across here. All right, so in the right layer. So I double clicked and I went to the actual viewport, okay? So now let's copy this, rather than, you can trace it or copy it. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to go copy. And I'm going to pick it up from this corner here. And I'm going to put it back on that corner there again. Done. So I've got two on top of each other now, right? Oh yes, I have two. I've got two on there. So now I can click on that one and change it to site house. Well, there it is. It's apparently inside a layer site house. I can't see it, but it is. Anyway, if I got my selection cycling on and I click on here, no, it didn't do it. Ah, sorry, it did do it. It did do it. What do you think has gone wrong? In this viewport, in every viewport, we said that those layers we created shall be frozen. So I did put it in the layer, it's great, but it's frozen. So, and it's a mistake I fall into every time. So if I go in here, the other thing we need to do straight away, in this viewport, the new viewport there that we are using, is to thaw site stormwater, site paths, site house, there it is, site hatch, site boundary, just in this viewport here. So now if I click on here, I have two things there. One is a yellow one, the other one is the grey one, and the grey one is the floor slab, and I should freeze the floor slab edge from in here. We don't delete it, we freeze it. All right, there you go. So you better hope that the house shape doesn't change, otherwise you have to go through and change it. Oh, so that's that. I'll just pop out of that viewport so you can see where I am and what I've done. But I still haven't drawn that line there, so I should do that. And I can do that by clicking in there, making sure I set my layer to site house. And I click polyline perhaps. use this button here, go there, or that edge, and then finish off at there, like that, and then there. So that's what we're going to end up with.
So you want the, what's the name of
The veranda part is going to be, yeah, we'll put it in the site house. Yeah. We have a question, where do we change the scale? Yes, about now. I reckon it's a good time. Now the viewport is set to 1:100 and it's locked. So we're just going to unlock it. Now we can't change scale unless we actually set it. And it's part of our tip we gave you initially. But if you have a look at your scales here, available scales, so I've unlocked it right now. And the available scales are up to 1:100 here. So I need to add more. So I go to the custom, yeah, and I go add, and I type in what the name of it should look like, and it's going to be 1:200. And then the bit that actually does the work is this, the number you put here under drawing units, all right, 200. So you have to do that. This one here's the description. I could just call it Andreas's 200. In fact, I've done some work for surveyors, and I've created some custom scales for them, and I've called theirs 1:200M, 1:100M for meters because they work in meters. For them, if I was creating one for surveyors, I will put 1,000 equals 200 on the end of it, because they're working at 1,000 times smaller than we are in meters. And you'll find that out in a minute when you look at their drawing. All right, so that's a description basically up here, what you see when you click on this thing here, and this is actually the bit that does the work down here. Okay. Now the other thing you got to do is probably a good idea to put it in order. So you might want to move it down to just below 1:100. Okay, that. And now if you go down here, you've created your own personal customization of AutoCAD. And you can and it looks like the bought one. It's just part of the rest of them. Yeah, and just click it. And it goes to 1:200 there, and just lock it after that. By the way, this afternoon I also did another bit of a customization for my AutoCAD. I added the measure distance button on the quick access because I want to use it all the time, and maybe in different location. So just quite easy. Click here, go to yeah, I thought it was quite easy. Where was it? More commands here. All right, and the key with that is to find the command you want. For example, measure. All right, and just what you do. The idea is to drag, and I'm not going to put another one on there, but the idea is to click one of the commands you find, any command you want, drag and drop it. Make sure you put it in the right location. I ended up putting it between the undo and redo, and then I had to use all my customizing skills to actually move it away from me. But yeah, just put it somewhere safe, and then drop it there. Anyway, where's this lock? Hang on a minute, let's find the lock. All right, so we've done all that. Now we locked it. We're going to go back to the instructions. Down here, we've done all of that. We created the layers, we've put that in there, we've traced around it and copied it and whatever. Now we're going to download the site plan, which you may already have, which is alright. Just make sure that it's sitting between now and when we come back from the break. Make sure the site plan and the PNG are sitting in your one-drawing folder. Then we're going to set the layer boundary current, and then we're going to insert it. So now's a good time, before I introduce this next bit, to go and have a break and come back with clear head. All right, so we are back, and we are raring to go, apparently. Let's have a look. So we're going to use this thing called external referencing, and really it's in the insert tab, attach button, apparently. So if we go here in one of the drawings, which is not the one, this one. Okay, what I think probably the best thing to do with this is to just double click out and double click onto this, so we can go into the full model space through the viewport like this, and then we can have a bit of room to play with. All right, so if we go like that, we go to insert attach, which is in the reference panel, third one in, and it comes up like this. By default, it comes up with all image files. In my case, you can see the PNG one because I downloaded it there, but it's not what I want right now. What I want right now is actually to change this to DWG, which is the last one, which I would have thought would be the first one because normally you bring in drawings, not PNGs. But anyway, drawing files. Oh, these are the drawings. These are all my iterations of this. Down the bottom, there's a thing called site plan from a surveyor. That's the one. Perfect. And we go open. This comes up. And as the little description says here, it tells you what each one of those does. If I go down here, it says that we have to have a relative path. If it won't let you do that, it may be because you have perhaps saved your drawing on D drive on your flash drive, but your drawing that you downloaded is sitting in downloads on the C drive. So if those two are different names, C and D drives, then it won't let you do relative path. But other than that, it should allow you to do that. Relative path, and when you've got your drawing, actually your surveyor's drawing in the same folder as your drawing, whether you use relative path or whether you use no path, it's actually exactly the same thing. Generally, relative path is used in a more complicated situation where, well, we do have some subfolders ourselves, like for our blocks and other things like that. But in a commercial situation, in an office, you might have your job number. Underneath that, you might have something like consultants, and underneath that, you might have surveyors, engineers, and other things like that, other subfolders. And that relative path means that if you have put the surveyor's plan in, say, the surveyor's folder, which is underneath, that will be considered a relative path. So then, if you ever give the drawing to someone else, and then I put it in my documents, for example, and then you go open it up, and it's looking for this surveyor's drawing, which you can't find because there is no folder, for example, called consultants, and another folder surveyors underneath that, if they haven't copied that across. So then you won't find it, and you have to go browse and look for it. But it's not the end of the world again. It's best to come up immediately, otherwise you have to go and look for it. And I may show you that in a minute. All right, so that's that. Now it says, now let's see, it says unitless. I think it's actually sensing that because it is unitless. I think if it knew that it was millimeters or meters, it will come up with that. And so we could do the scale factor here, but we won't. We'll do it after. Show you how to use the scale command to do that. So overlay is also good, which means if for some reason you had a need to externally reference this whole drawing that we're doing, the floor plans, into something else, it won't be looking for the site plan then to drag that in as well. And that could happen if you gave your drawing to the electrical engineer, or we've done electrical work here, but say you gave it to the mechanical engineers to do the HVAC, the heating, cooling, and you give them your floor plan, your drawing, and they externally reference it into their blank drawing, it will not be telling them, oh, you're missing the surveyor's plan because you've got it on overlay. If it's attachment, it'll always be looking for it if this drawing is ever referenced in another drawing. So that's the bigger picture. More complicated work when you're in an office, full appointment, you're coming across that sort of stuff. So that's all good. Now I've got to specify it's not all good. I've got to specify on scale, sorry. Here, specify on screen where I'm going to put it, which is correct. I think everything else is all right. So let's go with that. What layer was I supposed to put it in? No, it's I think I got it in the wrong layer because I was supposed to change the site boundary and I didn't do that because I didn't follow my instructions. But that's fine. I'm going to put it somewhere. Now, where am I going to put it? Put it somewhere where we can find it. What if I put it at the end of that? I don't know. If I put it there, let's have a look. So there it is. Well, is it there? I can't even see it. Where is it gone?
You just got to zoom out to see it.
Well, I can't see it because if I double click
It goes very far.
down here, isn't it? Yeah. Because this drawing here, this drawing here, it comes from a surveyor and it has a little bit of a mind of its own. Now, if I just change that to be under, yeah, no, there's a reason for that. I'll explain. If we've got a site, site, so put in the site boundary, it should be under that. It doesn't really change the colors or anything. It's just what it's under. Because it's a drawing in its own right. It's not a block really. I mean, block is a drawing as well, but it's a little more complicated than a block because being a drawing, like a survey drawing, it has a few more layers. So the thing is, I've put it in the site boundary layer, but because it's got its own internal layers, obviously they remain very hard to see this color. Sorry about that. It's under there somewhere. All right, so, and being an external reference is a little bit, it's not as bright. The colors are not as bright. Now, it's got a mind of its own because if I click on it, apart from being small, it is, its insertion point is somewhere up there, right? Very far away from the actual drawing. Whereas we, in the building design, we start our drawing very close, as you can see here, very close to the X and Y. Now, the surveyors don't do that. They actually geolocate their site plan to be in the right location on, X, Y, Z, that's in northing and easting, or you might want to call it, northing and easting. So it's a bit like a GPS location, all right? So it's an actual location on the Earth. So it's far away. Whatever you do, you'll be far away, right? So they don't change the insertion point to be close to there. So you have that problem regardless. Right. Now the other thing we've got to do is scale this up 1,000 times, so we make it bigger, because at the moment it's 1,000 times smaller than it should be. It's in meters. We can't see this, but we can see the numbers when we got it highlighted. That's 10 meters across. If I measure from, it's jumping because I've somehow turned on my object. Turned off my, my snap mode. Just turn it off. So if I measure from there to there, it says that it's 10 meters. All right. Where's the number along there? Anyway, it says 10 meters there. Right. That's the wrong thing. Sorry. Let me just try it again. There it is. No, it's just 13. Where am I? No, I measured the wrong thing. My error. There's a yellow line which I can't see that I've got to be measuring. Or is it actually measuring the wrong thing? It's up here somewhere. Hard to see, but because that's 10 meters. It actually says 10 on there. That's what it says, 10. Well, is it 10 millimeters or 10 meters? Or is it what? All right, so now it is a problem. If we scale this up, it would push it. It would make it bigger, but it would push it a little further away, perhaps. But just so that, just in case we can't find it easily, if I just click on here, maybe just draw a line. All right, draw a line from an endpoint, any endpoint you find on that site plan, and just zoom out until you see this house up here, and then just put the endpoint on the corner there. Now, I thought I was supposed to be in the site boundary layer. I'm doing the site boundary, just so I can see it nice and green. All right, so that's sort of at least giving us, at the end of that line, we'll find the thing that we need. All right. So now I can zoom down here and select this and scale it. All right. Now, because this is an external reference, if I select it, it does tend to drop me into this external reference modification panel thing. But let's go back to home and use the scale command. SC is a short command if you want to type it in. Scale. Yes, it is drawn in meters, so it's 10 something. Well, it's 10 millimeters. Yes, in our world is with 10 millimeters, but we're going to make it so it's just 10,000. So we're going to make it 1,000 times bigger. So now we're going to press scale, specify base point. Just go at the end point of that. All right. And the trick is, well, there's no trick actually. You just got to type in 1,000. Enter. So we still have at the end of this green line hooked onto that is our site, and it's there. If I zoom out now, you can see that they're both proportionally the same. All right. So I can just move this in place now. Did I say just? It's not as simple as that. delete that. Oh, Control Z. Don't delete that. Delete just that green line. I'm just going to highlight this and just move it. Move roughly where it should be, which is about there. Now, I've got to do something about these colors. I mean, I can't see a thing here. So, we've got to sort that out. Yeah, they're terrible colors. All right, so it says here, change the boundary, which is called lot lean, by the way, from yellow to green in the current viewport. And change the line type for layer easement to be dashed. The one from the surveyor is using an imperial version of a line type, and it doesn't really work proportionally with the dashes for us. So we're going to give it a bit of a facelift and bring it up to the metric world. So that's got to be dashed for both of them. But just green for the lot lean will help us at this point. And there's some text which is already white, which you should be able to see, and the red line for the easement, which is fine. So really all we're doing after all that is I'm in the viewport now. So I'm going to go down here, this gray, you see what happens here with the layers. They have a prefix, the name of the drawing, and then a pipe symbol, a vertical line, and then there's a layer name. So here's a lot lean one, which stands for allotment lines, I suppose. Change the second column here to green. I mean, it doesn't matter if you change the whole thing green, but that's the only one I'm interested in. And then we're going to make that, because it's green, it's got to be actually 0.5 thick as well. So change that too. So it's 0.5 thick. All right. So that's the line weight thickness there. And then for the ease, which is red, is fine, but the line type that's there already, and use the first column. Yeah, we want it to be dashed, I think, didn't we? So go dashed. Don't have to load that one in. But red, okay, so red for us signifies 0.18. So we'll just change also the line weight to 0.18. So go okay, not the green one, the red one. Yeah. Okay, so that should be all right. Okay, so that now we can see a bit better. It's not quite in the right spot, but we're going to get in the right spot. I'll just pause here for a bit. So basically what we can see here is that, well, we've got it in here. The viewport is going to be probably a little small, but let's just wait until we've got the thing in the right location before we adjust our viewport size. So let me go back in here. And now I'm just going to refer to what it should look like through here, just open this up, and where it should go is actually using some dimensions which I can't see. What are the dimensions? Oh, they're instructions. Yeah, they're not in here in this one. Yeah, so they're
In the Word document.
in the Word document. Yeah, I thought I had them in there. They should be in there. It's not quite finished. Yeah, 7,000 from there. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so how, and 7.5 from there. So how are we going to do that? Good question. I don't really know.
What if you drew a line from the corner of the house and just typed in 3,500 and then moved the thing onto it?
There's probably a few ways of doing it. Well, the bottom one is 7,000. The other one is 7.5. All right, let's have a look. All right, so if we go, what I'm thinking, if I drew a line from here to there, click that line, and then go offset, 7.5. There, that's where it should be that way. If I drew another line down here and offset that 7,000, maybe, enter, 7,000, enter, so that should go. Actually, well, that gives us the location of where the corner there, doesn't it? Pretty much. So what do we move, the house or do we move the site? Gotta be careful, eh? Don't move the house. So we've got to move the site. So we've got to move this. The lines we drew, we'll move them together, and we'll go move. Yeah, and we're going to move them from that corner there. Yours might be a bit different. That corner there, and that then gives us a setback of 7,000 from the front, 7.5 from. Oh yeah. Yeah, I just didn't pick up that one, so that didn't shift, but that should be okay. I'll just delete that. If I measure now, I've got my handy measuring up here, to perpendicular, that's 7.5. And another measuring here from that corner, from this corner here to 7,000 there. Right, so that's good. Just delete these lines here. Delete, done. How about that? Exactly. So that's done. What's wrong? By the way, if I go to the big A here and you go to options, there is under display, I think, here. So external references, in place edit, and external references are actually set to 50, the display, I think. So that's why I think we see how it's a little bit watered down, each color. You can only go to 90% anyway. What happened then? Oh, hold on. Okay, that. Sorry, I should go less. I went the wrong way. 90%. I went to the fade. I went the wrong way. Sorry. Options. It was on 50. If I go back to say 0, or roughly 0, that'll do. Okay, that. See how the colors of the external reference look normal colors now? Because by default, in anything external reference, it just shows a little bit faded. It doesn't print faded, but it shows faded, so we can tell which is the new stuff we're doing and which is the consultant stuff. So that's what I did by going in here and just changing the options, global options, from 50 to almost 0. But 50 is where it was. You can just change it, just type it in. That's why it's a bit, that green doesn't look very green. All right. Now we've got it in the right location. Now what we're going to do is just fix up this viewport. I suggest you turn off your object snaps for this. All right, so that way things don't click on the wrong spot and then it doesn't work for you. So just go past if you have to. Doesn't matter. Don't be scared to go past the actual title block. Now I probably went too far, so we'll just, well actually no I haven't, because we're going to draw the street down here, so I allow a bit extra down here. But on the side we're not going to draw anything really, so that can come back in. Make sure you have your object snaps off as I said, and now just click and drag up or move, use the move command up here. It's not electrical plan, you can change that at any time here. We can call this one site plan. Site plan 1:200, not 100. Easy. And this one over here will be Eve's detail eventually. Detail, and it'll be 1:10. That's what we're doing, so that's happening. All right, so now we just got to go in and add some more stuff in here. And it's a bit light. Put the line weight on. Does that help us? All right, not really. All right, so I'm going to add some text in layer whatever. What layer was it? Layer text, I suppose. So if I've got text here, I'm going to write some text in here, and the text will be, now what size did I use for here? I think it was only 3.5, I think. I'll just double check that size for you. I did that in size 3, so we can do that. Okay, 3 is the text. So just zoom in here, and in the viewport, okay, inside the viewport, and we're going to write some text. I'm not fully through the view. I'm in the viewport, but I'm not fully in the model space viewport. So if I now write in layer text using annotate multi-line text, yep, question? No. Multi-line text, like this, set my size to 3 millimeters here, annotative text, yes, and it's going to be proposed residence, I think. Proposed. I might just enter it here. All right, it's left justified, but that's pretty much equal those. So the other thing you just want to do is make that a bit smaller, and just click that like that. Now, if I just move this where I want to put it, say there. Now, what layer is this under? Should be under text. It is, and it's a grey color apparently. That's fine because it'll. Well, let's see what the text. That grey color will turn out black anyway, so it doesn't matter. I want to print it. Now we've got to hatch this, so we're just got to go to Home, click Hatch, and select the ANSI31. And now see what it's doing there. You might have to click Select on the top left here. It's associative, yes.
ANSI 132.
Oh, sorry, 132 is it? No.
No, 131 is it?
ANSI 31 should be. All right.
Oh, right, yes, you're right.
So it says here a proposed residence ANSI 31 has to be around 5 millimeters. Now it's not coming up. Now it should be annotative as well, I think, and that works. All right. So we left the scale at 1, but making it annotative, it means basically picks up number 1, multiplies it by 200, which is a scale. So they're bigger, they're spaced out. So I suppose it would have been the same thing as not putting that on and putting in 200 there, I would say. But they're about 5 millimeters apart. But what's the problem? It's not cutting around the text because I selected that outline. If I just clicked in it, it would have been okay. But now if I select the text, it does also put that, that cuts that out for me.
What's the font size?
Sorry, the what?
The font size, what was that?
For the text is 3 millimeters. Yeah. So if I tick it now, it means if I move this around, it automatically hides the hatch behind it because it's a notative and associative as well. Well, it's because it's associative mainly. All right, so so that's that. So let me just double check my layers here. I think I've got this in the wrong layer still. That's under text. It should be under site hatch. Excellent. Okay, now let's have a look. All right, so what's the next thing? Let's finish one thing at a time. Doesn't look like we're gonna get to do the detail today, but that's all right. Part 13, not likely. So, anyway, all right, we're good. I'm just going to put in the road here, and that goes in model space. So basically that, and the paths. So there's a few things to put in here. So let's do them. All right, so the actual, I'm going to do the stormwater actually next because that's the way I'm going to work that way. So let's do that. Now, 600 away, somewhere written in it, 600 away from the edge of the house. So what I'm going to do is actually use this. This has been very handy, this polyline. I'm going to offset that 600 that way. All right. So, and then I'm going to trim this up. So if I go to trim, there's two ways of doing the rest of it now. One way is for you to follow me. The other way is for you not to follow me and look at it and do the rest of it online, as in following the actual recording. So that way we're going to cover a bit more time, but we'll cover a lot more of this. But anyhow, I'll just trim this. Enter, trim. So I'm trimming this, and I'm trimming that much of it. Maybe I'll come to here, this much. Oh, this one I have to delete now, there's a little bit there. All right, so basically that's going to be my stormwater. So I'm going to change this to site stormwater. All right, so that's quicker. Right?
You got to break it first. You got to explode it first before you trim it.
No, you don't have to explode it before you trim it. I just trimmed it, and that remains still a polyline, the rest of it. There it is. All right, so I'm going to then drop in a circle of 100 radius under the layer site some water. Circle, all right, it's going to be 100. There it is. I'm also going to take off my thick, thin lines here, and I'm going to move that. Sorry, move this. It doesn't have to be exact, but sort of around about there. It's not. It's only symbolic because, in fact, your downpipe is not 200 millimeters diameter. All right, so it's just symbolic. It just means when it prints out, it will be a dot of about 1 millimeter. And 1 is 200. 1 is 200 means every 200 millimeters is equal to 1 millimeter printed. So that downpipe will come out as a 1 millimeter round thing. All right, so there it is. I'm going to copy this one here, or you can mirror it. You can mirror that if you like. You can mirror as well from midpoint. And now I'm going to turn on my object snaps and turn on the ortho there. So
How did you get the stormwater lines again?
the stormwater lines. I actually, this one's here, I use this and I offset that 600 millimeters, which is the outline.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just trimmed up the bits that went along here, and I'm just left with that. So if you offset it, so I just trim that up. And I'm going to tidy it up more, but that's the initial thing. 600, yeah. So the next one, I'm going to put, copy this one from the center. Now that one goes, put one here. Yeah, so if we look at all this, there's there you go. So there's one there, one there, and one there. So we've got to do those. So you can just place them really by eye. It doesn't have to be exact. Take off the ortho. But if you're pedantic, you can also do them exact. But as I said, they're only just indicative. Yeah, our roof goes over the veranda, doesn't it? So it'll be somewhere here. There's a downpipe. There's a post around here somewhere, so we've gone along the post probably. And we'll put the other one on the side here, I think, of the house. And there's another one here. Now, okay, so that's about it. You don't do chain selection in AutoCAD? You can't do it. You have to, well, you can do a similar thing where you can go, I don't know what you're selecting, but I can go click on that, then right click and go select similar. And that's all it selects anyway. But if I picked on this circle, it'll be right click, select similar. And I think just while I'm doing that, because I just replicated a problem, I think. I was supposed to go and change that to be continuous line type, and I was going to do that because I didn't create a layer called site downpipes. I was going to change that, being naughty, changing it in this area here, which you shouldn't be changing it in, and make it continuous. Because when it prints out, it might print out that it comes out dashed. The circles are a bit cut, so just in case, we'll make that continuous. But it might be okay if you don't. So basically, our stormwater falls to the back of the house and meets up here, and then we draw a line from this corner into there. So just going to draw a line that goes from there in here somewhere. Probably perpendicular to that, it would be good. And then you can just drag that up after following along the same direction, about there somewhere. Doesn't matter. And this one's here, what we're going to do is draw a line from the center of the circle at 45 degrees. So I need to have my object snap tracking, sorry, this one here, the polar tracking onto 45 degrees set, like that. And then I can just fillet that here so it joins up. Notice when I fillet that, although this was a line, it's now part of a polyline. When you fillet a polyline, sorry, a line with a polyline, that also becomes part of the polyline, which is great. I got a line from here now, 45 degrees to there. I fillet this one here with this one here. That should also be part of it. And this one here, now we're drawing these lines to the direction of the fall of the water. These are the underground parts of the downpipe now, and they're pointing towards the back of the house there. So this one won't be joined on, it's just a simple line. And line from here should also go this way. And there should be another one that connects up over here to 45 degrees there. And another one from here to there, 45. And let's just see what I've done here. Okay, so that one there, did I miss one? I think I missed one there. I thought we should have had one there. Yeah, one there. Other than that, I missed one. Yeah, that's the only one I missed. So let's just put this one here. So I just copy another one from there, around about there, and just draw a line that goes from the center of this to there. All right, so that's it there. And then it's just a matter of putting some text. I'll put all that text and the dimensions in paper space. All right. But while I'm here, I'll finish off the road, then I'll go to paper space and put, so this text here is actually in model space because we can't hatch it otherwise. That's why I had to put it in here. And by the way, I might change this to 3.5 mil. If it's not, make it a bit bigger. You don't have to, but a bit bigger. All right, there you go. All right, so now I'm going to put in, I'm going to go into the full model through the viewport, and I'm going to just draw the road. And the road is, yeah, that's, yeah, in path. Yeah, I should have got to do the paths anyway, so maybe I should do them first. Yeah, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. So the paths are 2 meters away from there, 4,000, all that. So the rest of it is 1 meter away. So yeah, the path is 1 meter away. You know, keep getting this line in here. And ignore that line there, it's not meant to be there. All right, so it's not actually there. So the path 1 meter. So what I'm going to do is actually pick up this again. I'm going to offset this 1 meter again. So I'm going to offset that 1,000 around that, and I'm going to basically trim. So trim, enter any extra bits, and I'm going to end up with little ones here that just need to be deleted afterwards, which is fine. Delete them. There's the one there. No. All right. So that's got to go in the path layer, site paths. There. Oh, site paths are actually dashed in my situation. It's just a mistake. Shouldn't be dashed. The center. Yeah, okay. That should be continuous. I wasn't careful before when I was creating these layers, so it's a bit of an error there. All right, so that should be continuous. All right, so again, I need to draw a line that goes from here to there, and offset that. Again, it should be in path layer. Okay, click that line. We need that in paths, and path is going to be my current layer too. So I'm going to go offset 2000. Yeah, that's the one we want. Oh, I put 200 or something. I don't know what I've done. Let me just turn off this thing that comes up all the time. Okay, so we're going to offset that 2000, we said. Oh, 2000. One more. There we go. And then it's 4,000, I think, isn't it? So I've got 4,000. There it is. All right, so now what I'm going to do is basically delete that line, fillet this one here with that one, and then I'm going to fillet this one here with that one. All right, so now we've got something like this. Down here, I'm going to also then, this is a bit of a technique here. I'm going to draw a little bit past that to show the footpath. So I'm going to use the object snaps on. I want to make sure I've got my object snap tracking on, and I'm just going to draw a line, being careful to follow that direction of this line here. It should just work. See that? It's sensing that line, and oh, it is, and it's just drawing that a little bit more there. All right, so that should be following that. And I'm going to draw another one over here, line, hang around there for a bit, and then just, another way of doing it is actually not to start drawing, but you can actually just go past it like this. All right, so you can actually see the dash is working, then click there and then come back to the endpoint. That might be a surer way of doing it. All right, so that may or may not be enough. If it's not enough, you can always drag it a bit more, making sure you're following that direction. Best to have extra than not enough. All right, so you can do extra like this. There you go. All right. Now I'm going to offset this Now, what layer is that meant to be? Paths, I think, yes. So I'm going to offset these two, 4,000. I'm just going to finish this bit off and then leave it there. 4,000. Sorry, that one there. And that one there. And I'm going to fill it with a R4 radius there. 4,000 radius. Type it in, enter. These two lines here, like that. Gives you a little curve there, right? And then I can extend these ones down to that now. I might just see if I can work through the viewport now because that line is annoying me there. There you go. I'm going to work through the viewport so you don't see that line there. If I double click in here, if I extend, so I'm going to go EX, enter, or up here, extend, enter, select this and this. All right, so what I'm going to do next is offset this back 400. That's all in the instructions. Offset 400 and this one here. And then I'm going to draw a line using my 45 angle there to there. Another one here to that 45 there. And what I'm going to do is trim all this up in here. That creates a little water table that you go up in your driveway from the curb. All right, so that's that. And here we're going to write the name of the street. Put some more text. DP for downpipe in here. A note there next week, and I think that's about wrap. So that and the dimensions. So all I've got to have done in paper space next week. All these notes and the north point. So these things will finish off next week. Yeah, and we're going to add the detail after that. Other than that, you're ready to go with seconds to spare. Maybe. All right. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Another action-packed session.